would like to call the Town of Rocky Hill Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting of Wednesday, December 17th, 2025 to order. First item on the agenda is the public hearing. You want to read it?
Sure, I can read it then.
Item A.
Item A, special permit application, Nadeem Khalid, proposing to reconfigure site from a former auto repair gas station to a gas station convenience store use for property located at 940 Cromwell Ave in a commercial zoning district, ID number 16-264.
Do we have an applicant presentation?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Nadeem Khalid, represent that 940 Cromwell Ave. We are sorry that our James Tamayo, our civil engineer, he's stuck in a traffic, so I can start the presentation. That existing site gas station, we have that, we've been through the variance process. It went well by the grace of God. The place that is somehow, somewhere you can say it's a gateway to the Rocky Hill, which look like in a past, like a cars and this and that. You guys know more than a history. So you really want to make something new, like a concept there with a gas station, with a proper convenience store. And our intentions is the existing site is very non-conforming for ADA. So we are trying to, the first intention, we are trying to make it the entire site to the ADA compliance. So that way, like that part is at least taken care. We are changing the direction of the pumps and the site, which we've been in touch with the city officials. And the whole idea is like a more safe and secure way of everybody to in and out from the gas station. And beside that, we are trying to have it something like, as I mentioned, like we are trying to keep it as per ADA compliance as much we can. So this is the whole concept. We are requesting this thing, and hopefully you will like it. And we really need your blessing so we can proceed this project, sir.
Okay. So I think you said you have engineer coming for presentation.
Yeah, yes. We have this flash drive. Is this
Okay.
your presentation on the flash drive?
He's just like a 2 minute away if
Okay,
you.
is this his presentation?
Okay.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
No, that's why he has it. I think that's what he's going to have is his laptop. So.
Okay, because they can project it if you need to do that. I don't know if that's, I'll wait
So
till he
if
arrives.
that's the pen drive where the presentation
Is,
is, what we do is
yeah.
we have computer here. So
Okay.
he can put that in and we
Okay.
can see it
So-
on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, so we will wait till. Do you want to recess it?
Sure.
And maybe we could go back and do other things and then come back? I don't know.
Two feet.
You want to do it?
I heard a door open.
Oh, here he is.
Oh, and
I
there-
appreciate it.
Is that?
Thank you for your patience.
Is that
Come
him?
on, James.
Oh,
We apologize. It was like a poor guy, like he's driving
Oh.
almost from that Monroe. So
no, okay.
we
So
appreciate
that
your
is-
time.
I don't know what this is. I do, just for the record, I do have the notification of mailing.
I think he has it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize. For whatever reason, I saw 7 o'clock on the agenda, and I just stuck to that one. I apologize. So I believe we're pulling up a,
Could we have your name and address for the record?
James
please?
DeMayo. I'm a professional engineer licensed in the state of Connecticut. Address 1 McConaughey Grove, Derby, Connecticut.
And how do you spell your last name, please?
DIMEO.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is this how we control it? Yep, okay. So the property, 940 Cromwell Ave, as you can see, is right on the corner of DiPietro Drive and Cromwell. This is a little bit further out, so you can kind of see in the aerial. Just, to get your bearings. It is very much in the commercial zone. So there is some residential off to the side. Same thing with Office Park, kind of up more north. This is just a blown-up aerial. So this is currently existing as a gas station currently. We're looking to do some retrofits on the property. So this is what we're looking at right now. So as you can see, there's 4 pump dispensers. It's also a service station right now, which we're going to basically just convert the building into a convenience store and gas station, no longer the service station. And then this is just the property from the other side. So we're just going to do some minor upgrades to the building, clean it up, and we're also going to rearrange the refueling dispensers and canopy. So this is so obviously I'm not an architect, but here's some of the architecture just to give you an idea of aesthetically what it's going to look like. It's going to have a brick finish with some siding. Layout is pretty standard on the inside for a convenience store. And again, just some more elevations. Right now, this is a sample canopy diagram, so I'd like you to just look at the upper corner. So it's not just a flat canopy, it will have a little bit of a peak on it to give it a little bit more character. But we're going to maintain at least a 14.6 clear height, and it's only going to be about 3 feet higher than that. So we're only looking at about 17.5 feet in total height. This is just a preliminary but basic just fuel sign that we're currently working with. We're going to end up adhering to any of the regulations in terms of signage and things like that. But again, just basic right now in terms of concept. We did go and get a couple of variances for this property in order to do this development. So what we have here is hatched a little bit darker gray. That's going to be the new canopy location. So we're going to, it's going to be 75 by a little bit under 24 feet wide. Currently, it's like perpendicular to the building. We're going to actually make it more parallel, and then vehicles are going to be at the fuel dispensers perpendicular to Cromwell Avenue. This eliminates the need for the front to back at the dispensers. So for instance, when 2 cars pull up, first car leaves, second car is stuck there. Now that whole queue is still just hanging on there. By rotating this way, so we're actually going from 4 dispensers down to 3, but it still should be far more efficient. Because now, the potential for open dispensers is reduced. So the 2 variances we got were for the reduction of the front yard setback for the refueling canopy from 35 feet down to 8.1 feet. And then we also got a reduction in the drive aisle width for one-way traffic from 16 feet to 14.9. And that's along Cromwell Ave. So kind of where that proposed fueling canopy leader is, it's that distance to that island. So in order to help make things a little clear, this is a demolition plan. So basically, we want to keep the existing pavement, the grading, pretty much everything the exact same. Really, the only thing that we want to touch is we want to remove the existing fueling dispensers, the canopy, and relocate that to our new configuration. So all the existing pavement we are currently proposing as is. But what we will do is we will be redoing the line striping, because now with the new configuration, we will be able to have enough room up against the existing building to now have parking in that location. So and instead of it being all the way to the south, because a lot of the parking right now is all to the south. So there's a whole run of the parking there. And again, it's just not very efficient for this, for the new configuration. So now we're able to bring it much closer to the convenience store. We don't have people walking through traffic or anything like that. We're able to kind of keep them tight to the building. Aside from that, we'll be upgrading the dumpster enclosure. The dumpster is going to remain in the same spot that it currently is. There will be a little bit of widening of the existing bituminous island up against Cromwell Ave. So I would like to extend that to reduce the size of the existing curb cuts. So any additional plantings that are happening are actually going to happen in that island, and they're all just going to be low-level shrubs, evergreens. But I'll get back to that in a little bit. We are able to, these diagrams are showing the turning movements for the refueling trucks. So they can get around the site, they can refuel. All of our refueling takes place during off hours, or that's at least what we're planning on. Everything so at night, so it won't interfere with patrons or anything like that. This turning movement was done to help demonstrate the variance request for the one-way drive aisle, that it can be done. So we do have enough room there to be able to do it. I do know the town engineer did have a little bit of concerns, but I will address that shortly. Standard S&E plan, some details. The underground tanks are going to be replaced, but that's kind of about it. Everything else is pretty much staying the same. We're really trying not to change. It's a fully developed site, so we're really limited on what we're going to be doing. We're really not changing grades, really not doing anything like that. We are proposing a sidewalk across the front. And one of the comments that we had, which was referring to, did we consider having that raised instead of having the curb stops? It currently is, it can be either way. The curb stops I put there as an added protection for the pedestrians. Staff's concern was that it could potentially become a trip hazard. I can go either way. If we don't want to do them, then the sidewalk can easily be raised. That's not an issue. Some of the other comments, I won't go through them all, but I'll just kind of skim through some of the bigger ones. From the engineer, add a note for DOT encroachment permit, absolutely. Verify the canopy supports are not going to go through an existing drain. Yep, we will take a look at that and verify. Then we talked. Then he had a comment about the turning movement, and it just having enough clearance not to hit it. Again, all my turning movements are trying to be conservative. However, I could show this further, and the vehicle will be able to do it even easier than what's being depicted due to the fact that deliveries happen overnight. So there's going to be no parking or no vehicles parking in the parking spaces up against the building. So the vehicle will have even more room to swing than what I'm currently showing. But so we're genuinely not concerned about it, but can easily make that update if he would like. He had the concern about the one-way travel and the drive aisle width being reduced, and noted that if there's snow piled up on that island, that the front bumpers will clip the snow. We have no. Basically, I could also add a note indicating that no snow is to be piled up in this island and is to be removed off-site. so that this way it doesn't impact that in any way, shape, or form. Staff asked for a little bit more detail on the canopy, which again, we're still working through a little bit. A lot of the final designs don't get done until, there's approvals and the canopy is being ordered. But we can give some more generic information to staff. Detail for the ground cover and shrubs. So I included a detail for the low-lying shrubs. And again, that was just for within this island. So there's already some low shrubs in this island as it is now. So because we're going to extend it, the logic was to just infill it in, with more of the same. If staff would like me, I have no problem actually pictorially showing the new shrub locations. That's not an issue. One of the other things that was requested is updating some spot grades to show ADA compliance. We're currently in the process of getting some additional survey information to prove that, but that shouldn't be an issue. This site is really flat all the way around, so there's really no concern. And again, we're not changing grades from where we are. Aside from that, most of the other comments are pretty much about the same from planning staff, which again, nothing seems major in the way or unsupported. So we'll be addressing all of that as soon as we can, but we also wanted to hear from this commission to determine if there was any other changes or concerns that the commission had. That's pretty much it. So do we have any questions?
All right, so this is a public hearing, so we just have to open it up for the public. And I think all the commissioners here are seated except Commissioner Brescia. So, just for anyone in the public who would like to address to the commission on this application? Anyone? Seeing none, I will open up questions to the commissioners. Commissioner Hussey?
So, James, I think you addressed a few of the things that I was going to ask you, but definitely turning radius, definitely queuing. But before I get to that, can you actually answer this question as to why? Because I feel like what you're going from and going to is a detriment for cars and vehicular traffic within the site. So you're going from four pumps that worked previously down to 3 pumps and making it a little more convoluted. So can you just kind of address why you're actually anticipating doing this change?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons is the change of use within the structure itself. It's going from basically a very small convenience and then service station to where now we're really doing more so in the convenience style of use for the building. Now, if you look at the existing parking, there's none across the frontage. All the parking is along the outsides of the property, which means all the pedestrians that now want to access the building, which is the primary use, are now going to have to be walking through the traffic. So with our new configuration, what's going to end up happening is we have all the parking now up against the building and then also to the north as well. But again, that's all paved and they don't have to go through vehicular traffic now. We will also have enough room for two-way traffic in between the fuel pumps and the new parking spaces up against the building. So we'll have plenty of on-site stacking to keep, or queuing, I should say, for the vehicles looking to access any of the dispensers. And it keeps pedestrians out of that traffic, which again is essentially more so the primary use now.
Okay. All right, so let me touch on some of that turning radius. So
Yep.
I know there's a one-way on the, would be on the west side of the
Yep.
new pumps. And in your turning radius depictions, you've got a, if you will, standard size vehicle.
Correct.
The bituminous curb island is to remain, correct?
Yes.
So, how about a little bit of a larger vehicle? Are we ramping up on that curb, or how would that, I know you touched on the snow shelf, and,
Yeah.
you know, obviously not piling snow there is a good idea, but outside of a small vehicle, I'm just a little concerned as to turning radiuses on that.
So the only vehicles where you would start to end up with potential concerns is going to be something towing a trailer, essentially. So pickup trucks going to be fine. We have plenty. There's actually going to be plenty of room, just also due to the spacing in between the pumps themselves. So I'm currently showing boxes which basically depict a normal parking space size. Well, when people go up to the pumps, they you know, they're not always up tight up against the pump, or you know. So we have a lot of extra space built in between the dispensers. So this way, even some of these bigger vehicles that, you know, are still a foot or two off the dispensers, that's actually going to help them with their turning movements. So we will be able to accommodate normal vehicles.
Okay. I am all set for now, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Commissioner?
So what you're saying, following up on what Commissioner Hussey said, what you're saying is that if you had a pickup truck that was trailering landscape equipment on a trailer, they would not be able to safely get in and out of here?
They would have so they would end up having difficulties on the inner pumps. They'll be able to access any of the outer pumps without an issue, but it's the ones that are in the middle that they, you know, at that point they'll have an issue. But those are few and far between is what we're expecting.
All right. Well, it might be prudent to put signage up or something to that regard, saying, you know, these types of vehicles, please use these pumps.
Yeah, well, a lot of times that ends up becoming self-regulating. A lot of the people who end up towing trailers are very comfortable with towing trailers. They tow them day in, day out, and they'll if they think that the movement on this site is too difficult for them, they're going to drive right by and go to the next one. You know what I mean? So gas stations are, you know, are kind of more of a view of like convenience. You know what I mean? That style of use. Yeah. So it's not like it also draws specific people to it. It's you know, a lot of people are driving home, driving by it, and those are the people that are going to pull in. Okay. So it's typically people that are familiar with the area, familiar with the site. So again, a lot of that ends up becoming self-regulating.
Okay. One other question on drainage. What's the current drainage system out there now, and are you proposing to change that in any way?
So
how's that site drain?
Yep. So right now, first answer, we're not currently proposing to change anything because, again, we're not changing grades. We're not adding impervious. We're actually taking some away. All we're pretty much trying to do is, you know, some areas that are existing bituminous may turn into concrete. And then we're just relocating the canopy. So we're not changing the site drainage at all. There are, let's see, so down towards the south where the sign is, there's a catch basin. That pipe goes up north to the other side where the other parking spaces are, and then that goes out. So again, we're literally not planning on touching any of that.
Okay. No further questions.
Commissioner Mahos?
Okay. What are the hours going to be?
Right now, the anticipated hours, or what we're hoping for, is 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. 12 a.m.
So midnight,
Midnight. Yes.
okay. So you're going to be having trucks delivering, fuel trucks between 1 a.m. and,
Yeah, they're,
Five
with
or
all
so.
respect, they are, all the delivery we schedule and we requested to that hauler, it's gonna be between 1 and 3. So that way there is no any traffic or there is no issue, sir.
okay. Unless I missed it, do you have any indication of where the sidewalks will be? Do you have it on any of your drawings?
Yeah. So the only sidewalks that we're proposing are along the frontage of the building.
Right.
So there's a
Oh, the building, not the road.
no.
Okay.
No. Yeah. So it's
Oh, no.
So going from the back of the building forward towards the road, you're going to have the existing building, sidewalk, parking spaces, a 24-foot drive aisle, canopy, one-way drive aisle, little island, and then Cromwell Ave.
Okay. Addressing the turning radiuses. You show a truck coming in and, excuse me, and show it actually going underneath the corner of the canopy on the south side and underneath almost the entire canopy on the north side. Will trucks be able to
Yes, sir.
clear that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now, 8.1 feet front yard setback, that's awfully close to the road.
Yes, sir.
Will there be any visibility issues with the canopy and, people coming out? And, okay.
So to also give you an idea as well, the existing canopy is, what is it? I think it's 18, or I think it's 16 feet. So, we are moving it more forward, but it's not like there's nothing there now. And again, it will be up above any sight lines or eye lines. Again, the canopy is about 14 feet high.
Okay.
Yeah, 15, yeah.
And one of your comments was a lot of people that have a pickup truck with a trailer will pass. What about the ones that actually go in?
So again, they will be able to navigate around this site. Again, like this site is, we're able to have a tractor trailer drive around the site. So they will be able to navigate around the site. And if they pull in and decide I can't make any movement to any dispenser, they will have an access way to be able to turn right back out. So it's not like they're trapped in the site. We're not creating that. They're literally going to follow. Worst comes to worst, and this is like absolute worst. They're going to follow the same paths as these two trucks. So the movement on the left is coming north on Cromwell Ave. They turn in. They'd look for a pump. They don't see anything. They'd come back out and continue north. And then even the one on the right is coming south. So even if they decided to come in, they would be able to get in and out of the site without any issues.
Okay. And the front access, the front driving lane, how wide is that?
The one way?
Yeah, will you show arrows on?
Yeah. So that was the what we got the variance for. So it's 14.9. Or yeah.
Will you show the 3 arrows facing south on your?
Yep. 14 feet 9 inches from where I'm depicting the. So a lot of this too is where I'm depicting that parking space for the fueling dispenser as well. So right now I'm saying this is centered, or the parking space is centered on the fueling dispenser. And again, it's a 9 by 18 space. So from the front of that space, it's 14 feet 9 inches to the curb.
Okay. Let me see if I have anything else. Oh, you didn't address anything about what is going to be going on inside the convenience store. How extensive is this as a convenience store? Some are just serve snacks and general supplies, others are a lot more involved.
Convenience store?
Yeah, yeah, just the main use of the convenience store.
So the majority we have items like as a pre-pack, all the products comes. So like chips, candies, all the stuff, as well as we are going to keep like a coffee bar. We are going to have all kind of coffee, like some of those latte or some of that Kaisi product. So we are trying to have it not like a delay kind of there where the people stuck. So it's just like a grab and go kind of concept.
Okay, no tables and chairs. No tables and chairs.
No tables and chair. That's correct, sir.
Okay.
We keep it like a 1 or 2 in case some ADA person show up and he needed something that's going to be arranged. Yeah, that's definitely, sir.
Okay. I'm all set for now.
Thanks.
Commissioner Ron?
You mentioned something about having snow removed if needed, but, sometimes in a major storm, that's easier said than done. Are there any areas on site within the leased property where you have a place to stage snow until somebody can show up?
So, actually, by us now not utilizing, I'll even show this picture. By us not utilizing any of this parking on the right-hand side, we have this entire path, that entire swath right there, because, so we're just using that for drive aisle basically right now.
Oh, okay.
So it's extra. Again, we're trying to keep our site costs down, so we're not planning on removing that pavement. So we were just going to leave it. So we have all that area there, and then we also on the northern end, there is space just beyond the parking spaces up north as well.
Okay.
So we do have room and places to put it, if needed. And even the dumpster. I mean, we'd probably make that work too.
Okay. So I also see on the site plans, you got remove existing fuel tanks and replace with 2 12,000-gallon USTs. And I see 3 tanks on the plan. So are you going to remove 3 tanks and just replace it with 2?
That's correct, sir. It's going to be, we are
So
replacing
you're not going to be selling diesel, you're just going to be selling different grades of gasoline or
It's
what?
going to be
So,
regular.
if I can please, I think what you do is you come in front of the mic and you always have to identify yourself.
I'm sorry.
So when people at home are listening, they know who exactly is talking.
I
So,
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorry for that. Again, this is Nadeem Khalid. I just want to let you know we have existing 3 tanks. We are reducing those 3 tanks and we are going to put back like 2 tanks. It's going to be served as a regular gas, it's going to be a mid-grade, and it's going to be super. And we are going to keep it 1 tank for the some of like a small cars, like nowadays, like a lot of cars coming with a diesel, so we are going to have a diesel product. As a matter of fact, the quantity of fuel will be less, it's going to be less tank, but as compared to the 3 tanks, we are from 30,000, we are going to bring it back to 24,000, which make, what something makes sense for the future.
Okay. So the 2 12s would be split chambers?
That's correct, sir. One going to be straight for the regular, other 2 will be a split, one going to be a super, one going to be a diesel. That's correct.
And just thinking ahead for site development, do you have any soil tests already to find out if there's any, you expecting to find any contamination with existing tanks where you're going to have to stockpile contaminated soils on site while you develop the area?
That's correct, sir. What would we are going to do it when the day we get the this permit approved, and we start disturbing any soil at the site. We have a LEP on site around the clock, and he is going to any disturbed soil coming out of the ground, he is going to have a test. If anything is beyond that state regulatory, the codes that has to be legally disposed from the site is going to have a proper manifest, which going to be we are going to submit to that the state. Everything is 110% legal all the
But are you
site.
gonna do a direct transfer right off the site as you remove it from the
We-
grave? Or are you gonna stockpile on site and then?
It's depend on the site. Sometime if like a construction, if we are not disturbing certain areas, we can stockpile on the site. And if we determine like that one have some concern and issue, then we can contact to that disposal facility and we can start hauling from the site. So that way it not like a pile of the dirt, like sometimes you see side of the highway, like
Yeah.
about like a few million tons are sitting.
And Neil, I mean, it's just common that you do find stuff. The only thing I'm getting to is that if you need to stockpile soil on site, and of course you're gonna be complying with the Connecticut DEP, but you know, typically with a site development plan, we're looking for erosion and sediment control, and we want to make sure that if you're going to have a pile of exposed soil, that there's a plan to ensure that we don't have any of that leaching off the property, or you know, and or when the trucks are working, we also don't want folks sending mud up the street like the state's doing right now on West Street.
Yeah, so, again, James DeMayo again. So we'll comply with the sediment erosion control guidelines, or the most current during construction. I can add a stockpile area. The site is kind of unique compared to a lot of other site development projects because this is a fully developed site. Therefore, basically, when they're excavating for the tanks, they're going to be sitting on pavement. You know what I mean? So again, the site's already paved, so they're not. So they're gonna break up the concrete. They're gonna excavate for the tanks, and then the whole site is impervious anyway. So what'll end up happening is at the very end.
But it won't be after you dig a hole.
Well, no, yeah, but aside from that hole where it's disturbed,
Yeah.
then so anything that's left, again, I have no problem adding additional sediment erosion control guidelines to the plans. Essentially, it's just going to end up being straw wattles.
I just think maybe it's just add-on comments, or it could also be linked to staff comments. But then if you get to the point where you have a bunch of extra soil, that some coordination be done with staff to ensure that
Yes.
it's properly covered, and you got hay bales around the base, and that we don't have any migration of contaminants off the property.
And that's not a problem or any type of condition that we're opposed to. Like, that's a very reasonable condition where, if this is encountered, then this is how we're going to deal with it. Or at that point, a plan has to be submitted to staff indicating how it's going to be handled.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
material handling plan, basically, which
No,
is what the
if
LEP is.
Murphy's Law kicks in, there are situations where you could have a pile on soil on site waiting for the DEP to get back to you.
Correct.
For a long time.
On average, a lot of these, I've a pile right now we're going on 30 days right now for test results back, so.
Right. The other question is, I see you got a small waste oil tank, but you're not doing vehicle repair anymore, so what's the waste oil tank for?
Oh, that's going to be removed.
Oh,
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
So that's not going to remain. That's just,
all right.
that was a carryover from the existing survey, or an existing call out from the existing survey. That's not.
And then just my last question is, are there any enhancements or modifications planned for the stormwater collection system that exists on the property now?
No.
Okay. Hey, I'll turn it over to my colleague here.
Okay, so
Cleaning.
you talked about ADA compliance and how you really wanted to work on ADA types of issues, which is great. Has there been any thought to the front doors being automatic front doors that will simply open when there's a person that comes in a wheelchair or comes to the front, so that they don't have to push them open with their hand?
Again, this is Nadeem Khalid. The few that's are required, I mean, by the ADA compliance, you can have a manual or you can do the automatic. If the city required to have it, we can put like automatic door.
Oh, I'm just asking, is that what you propose, is a manual or an
I
automatic?
mean, we not propose, it's like we have a standard ADA, accessible walkway and the door, but somehow you guys prefer to have the automatic door, we can install it. That's no problem.
I just think sometimes automatic doors are a lot easier for people to have
Definitely,
open.
definitely.
You step on them and they open.
Definitely.
That's,
By all
oh,
means.
I would like to see that.
That can be arranged, absolutely no problem.
Okay. Any additional fuels going to be added to your project, like propane tank or like any propane tanks? or-
At this point, we don't, but at some point, if we carry those propane cans, we'll make sure we are reaching the city official to get a proper, like a guidelines, the approvals, permit, and based upon that, we are going to install it. Otherwise, absolutely not.
Okay, because it sounds like you're going to get a lot more footpath going to that store, convenience store. You may get a lot more footpath. So how are you going to make it safe for pedestrians to walk into that store if there's no sidewalk out front or there's no like striped lines to make it safe for a pedestrian to walk in?
So you're talking about, James DeMayo again. So you're referencing pedestrians just walking
Yeah, just
on,
walking
on
in.
the road.
Yep. Or bikes.
Or bikes.
Bicycles.
So there's currently nothing in that area now. Actually, let me just double check. Yeah, no, because there's no walkways on this entire side right now or anything like that. So we don't have any connectivity to anything. But again, one of the benefits of our layout is we have a lot of extra space that, you know, used to be parking or drive aisle that now is beyond our normal drive aisle. So pedestrians will be able to access basically where, you know, if they're coming north, they'll be able to just come in and travel all along the edge of pavement where the existing parking spaces are, and that's out of the way of traffic. And then coming to the south, if they're coming to the south, as soon as they enter the site, when they're staying to the left near the parking spaces, they're going to be at least on the edge of traffic. So we're trying to push the drive aisles in a little bit more and leave the outside open.
Okay. One of our missions for the town is to really work on connectivity, connecting things. So sidewalks are a big deal. And I know that you don't have one there, but that was built such a long time ago. And sometimes sidewalks are a good thing, so for pedestrians and bicyclists to be able to have good, safe movement. Was there any thought given to putting a sidewalk in the front of the project?
Due to the lack of space between the development and Cromwell Ave, there has not been currently. I have a little bit of reservations, and I would end up wanting to defer to DOT on that because that's going to end up becoming an encroachment permit specifically for that. And then just due to where it would end up is it would end up in this landscaped island.
A sidewalk?
Yeah. So across the frontage of the property, because that's the only space that we have for it. So now we are going to completely eliminate any sort of green or greenery in front of this property.
And this, if I may, and this commission, while you can certainly suggest, but it's not up to this commission because it is a state road, so that would be on state property, and that would be a DOT call.
Okay. And how about is this a corner lot? This is a corner lot, correct?
That's a private, yeah. it's a
Yeah,
private road.
yeah. Technically, no, because it's a private road.
DiPietro is a
Yes.
private
Yeah.
drive? Okay, so then,
And then as you go further north, you have considerable wetland area, up further, so.
okay. It just seems like you might get more pedestrian, if you have a bigger store, like a bigger convenience store, you're going to get more people coming, and we don't want people to get hit by cars or anything like that.
Yeah.
And bicyclists, are you planning to put a bike rack in there somewhere so bicyclists can lock up their bikes when they go in?
We absolutely could. I have plenty of space for it.
Do you have space to put a bike pump in there too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How many parking spaces are there now, and how many are you proposing?
So, if memory serves me right, we're kind of 1-to-1. Hold on, we have 12 spaces now not counting any spacing or spaces at the fueling pump. We have, I believe we also have 12 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 13 now. So we're losing one space, but again, we feel it's a better configuration. But we're also gaining a loading space. So so right now I am depicting a loading space kind of in the back. And that's why I didn't extend the parking spaces all the way to that existing curb, because I wanted access for that, and I also wanted to keep it away. So we felt that was a better use of the space.
Okay.
And that number of spaces will be sufficient for our use.
Are all deliveries going through the front of the store?
Yes.
Those front doors?
Yeah.
Oh, see, you need sliding doors then, so they're automatic open. All right. And you're going from 4 pumps to 3 pumps?
Yes.
Is it because of some study that was done or some sort of rationale that you don't have the traffic, or you're not going to get the?
A lot of it is experience and trends that we're seeing throughout the state. Again, the issue with the current configuration is that it's the parallel, so you and somebody else pull in, then that person leaves. Nobody accesses that until both cars leave. So now there's queuing or stacking happening on the property until both vehicles move. Whereas when you have the perpendicular pumps like this, there's a lot less stacking that's going to happen. I mean, the only ones that you'll ever see queuing really on are like BJ's or something crazy like those refueling stations. But standard gas stations like this, it just leaves it so much more open for people to come in
and go out.
and just, so let's say your fuel is on your driver's side, and you come in and all of those are taken as you're going. You're able to go around and go to the other side down the one way and pull in that way now too. So you're able to go around the site and just access the pumps a lot more easily.
Well, if the hoses are long enough, you could access the gas cap from either side.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm seeing.
Yeah, but a lot of people still don't bother.
They still
with that.
don't,
Yeah.
but they
You
can.
You can,
And
yes.
you see people waiting in line, yeah. Very good. Are you going to put an air pump in there for cars if they need to fill up on air?
Yeah. I'll revise the site plan to depict that, yeah.
Because it just seems like there's not enough places where you can go get your tires filled up, with air if you want to top them off or whatnot.
Yeah.
That might not be such a bad idea. Okay. And the front, you're going to have the sidewalk in front of the door, the entrance, right?
Yes.
And that's going to go all
Yes,
the
ma'am.
way. And then you're going to have accessibility, like a little
A ramp,
downward,
yes.
so that they.
Yeah, so that's one of the main comments that we have from staff that we need to address.
Okay.
And in order to do that, be able to clearly depict it and prove it out, the surveyor, I believe, may have already been out there, so I'm just waiting on the final shots. But the intention is that the grades pretty much work now, so we'll be able to make it work. But, again, it's the burden of proving it out.
Okay, and you have one handicap space, right?
Yes.
Will that fit like a van as well as, okay, a small,
Yeah, so ADA requires the first one to be a van anyway,
yeah.
so.
And it's too bad they can't have a bigger one.
Well, the van is technically bigger. So you have 8 and 8
Yeah.
and 9 and 5.
Yeah,
8 and 8 ends up being bigger because you got 16 feet. So it ends up working it either way. But yeah,
because we have an assisted living right in that area as well. So there's a lot of older folks that might be participating in that store because it's right there on the corner. How easy can that be?
Yeah.
So you might see people coming in there that are a little bit older, and to have one parking space, everyone fights over. And I don't know if there's a way to move the handicap more towards the end so it's easier to get in and out.
Well,
don't know.
so we have to follow ADA rules.
Yep.
So
Yes.
it means that we have to choose the closest
To the door.
accessible path
Okay.
to the door. So wherever that may be, just due to elevations, that's what we have to go with the ADA. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of the roof, is there any additional, like, machinery or air handlers or anything that are gonna go on the roof? I don't see anything depicted on the roof, so you're good, right, with that? Nothing else?
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
And my last question I had was, inside on your floor plan, you depict a 42-inch lotto table? What is that?
Nowadays, I'm sorry, this is again Nadeem Khalid. Nowadays, like a lottery encouraged because of the new, some of those things they have where somewhere people can scratch off their tickets or they have some particular area which don't disturb to the other customer. So that's why we just create that little room, the area. So when they buy the ticket, so they move to that table in case they want
Oh.
to scratch off.
Okay, I'm just curious what a lotto table was.
I'm
like-
sorry, I don't play lotto, trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, okay, no, no.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. And I guess my last thing is, I see a big depiction for cigarette racks, and cigarettes aren't good for you. That's it.
All right, thank you. Just a few clarification. I should have asked you to do this before. This is a special permit. You're supposed to read the special permit criteria for the record. And I do see you have it here.
Yeah.
That should have been done. I forgot about it.
And I'll apologize. I was standing at my printer, waiting
Yep.
for it to print out, and I noticed that the meeting started at 6:30 and said, I have to go. So I left it literally on my printer.
So, yeah, so if you can do that, and then we'll come back with the questions. So sorry about that. I should have picked that up. in
Yep,
the
absolutely.
beginning.
Okay, so you need me to read all of them?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. So for Section 9D compliance, for A1, this property is currently utilized as a gas station. There's no changes to the building or use, essentially, because, again, it's a gas station, service station, but now we're really going more gas station convenience. But the main use is remaining the same. What we are doing is we are removing one of the fuel dispensers in order to provide better flow and pedestrian safety around the site to access the convenience store. For Section 8.2, this update to the existing property and use should not negatively impact surrounding property values in the area. For Section B.1, the proposed update will refresh the existing gas station to make it more attractive for the area. For Section B2, this proposed development will not hinder or discourage development on adjacent land, as this will not be changing much other than the fuel pump configuration and the canopy location. There is no other development directly adjacent to these changes that would be affected. Section B.3, B.3, the proposed activity will not adversely impact the neighbors. All lights will be full cutoff under the canopy, as they are now, to prevent any light trespass. We're not proposing any other, site changes, so everything was proposed to be the same. Section B.4, the proposed changes are to increase vehicular and pedestrian safety while utilizing this property. Section C.1, the proposed activity is not proposing any changes to the current road openings aside from reducing it. And the main reason why I'm reducing it right now is I'm foreseeing what DOT is going to require of us. They don't like these really wide openings. They want us to narrow them down. So that's me projecting what I know DOT is going to make us do. For Section C.2, all parking spaces shall be in conformance with the zoning regulations. for section C.3. No changes to the road openings from the existing conditions. Again, aside from extending that, all the grades and sight lines will be maintained. Section D.1. This property is currently existing, and there's no significant other changes being proposed other than the fuel pumps and the canopy. Utilities on site are not being changed. For instance, we're not redoing gas, we're not redoing electric, we're not redoing sewer. All of that is staying the same because all we're doing are interior renovations on the structure and some just exterior polishing of the building. Section D.2, the proposed configuration does not negatively affect fire apparatus or police apparatuses. They'll have plenty of movement around the site. Section E.1, there is no negative impact to the environment. In fact, due to the canopy size increasing from what's there, typically what ends up happening with these gas stations, or when you look at environmental impacts, when you have a paved parking area or a paved area that vehicles are traveling on or over, it's the pollutant loads are higher than something from a roof. So what ends up happening now is by making actually the footprint of the canopy slightly larger, we're not allowing the water to now hit that surface, which is then going to transport all of the oils and fuels when it shouldn't be. So that actually ends up helping for the environmental impact. E.2, there are no historic features on site. E.3, this is an existing developed gas station, which is to remain. F.1, the new leasee wishes to update the property and keep it in good working order. G.1, the proposed development is in accordance with the planning and zoning regulations. G.2, to the best of our knowledge, the plan conforms with the planning and zone, or the plan of conservation and development. G.3, the proposed development is being proposed to increase the health, safety, and welfare for pedestrians and vehicular travelers utilizing the site.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, that's, some of the wording of this should have been more careful. Like, there will be no change to the building or use.
Yeah.
That's incorrect. The use is not, it's not auto body shop anymore.
Correct.
It's different. So I would be
Yeah,
careful using certain words, because what happens is this becomes part of record, and
Yeah.
in the future, people will have
Yeah.
issues, when they review for some other changes. So
I'll clarify.
I would like to correct
Yes.
the
Yes, sir.
wordings exactly. I mean, there is some discrepancy in terms of
Yeah,
no changes to road openings.
I saw a couple of them too as I was
So,
reading it.
yeah,
So
I
understand.
want to make sure that those are corrected and have accurate information in here.
Yes, sir.
I had a few questions. I know there was a list of 16 items, right? And you went through some of them. Is there anything in writing to those in response?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
We got the comments. We're working to address them as quickly as we can. And then I didn't want to submit anything just yet until we got in front of the commission, heard the commission's concerns, and so then this way we can just address everything in one fell swoop.
So
is the
just for commission members, we don't have full information, so, just keep that in mind when people make motion, okay? So, because this is a special permit, we have to have complete information.
Well, just so you know, with any plan, if there are staff comments, the applicant certainly does have the right to submit revised plans based upon staff comments.
And I understand. I think sometimes what happens is those comments are such that commission would like to reserve the right to look at those comments, understand the comments, make sure it's not in conflict, and take appropriate action. So I think because it's not like one or two comments, there are 16 comments. So I just want to make sure that the commission has got appropriate, application and notice before they make any decision, So it's very important to, and I'll let other commissioners talk when I'm done. I think as far as the circulation, right, is the front of Cromwell Avenue, is that like a one-way you are proposing? I see the arrows
Yes.
going from like north to south.
Yes.
So how would somebody entering from, south side, because it is in and out from south? How, is the driver going to behave and comply with one-way arrow?
So what we have is, there are two existing curb cuts. So both those curb cuts are currently in and out. So, apologize. So if somebody is coming in from the southern entrance, in between the pumps and the convenience store is two-way. So they will be able, so if you needed to, you can, if you're coming north, you go in the southern entrance, you'll be able to travel north in the two-way and then even circle back south down the one-way if needed.
Right, I get it. I think what I'm saying is drivers don't follow directions. They always try to go whatever is convenient. And if I'm coming in from the south side, my instinct is that I'm just going to go the first arrow, which is coming opposite, which for me is not allowed to go in, but I'm going to go in and go to the pump. There is nothing there that stops me.
Yeah, what you're
Yeah.
saying is coming in from the south.
Right.
Traveling north between the island,
And
the
the
concrete
cars.
island and the pumps,
Pump.
which is in direct conflict with
Right.
the.
Yeah, so what we can do is we can add an additional sign. We just want to make sure that it doesn't impede sight lines or anything like that to indicate one way. We can also put on the site there a stop bar, so it looks clearly like that is a drive aisle going to the south. So we put that stop bar there, so that should help.
Because I have seen, we have approved projects
Yeah.
with some understanding, and then DOT had to come and put a barrier in between so that people don't come in. So I've seen it. So on paper, in conversation, it looks good, but in reality, people don't follow the rules, and they don't follow, what you have in mind. So, that's where the safety issue comes in, because you'll have somebody entering from, north side who missed the first south entrance, and then they come in, and now the south side guy is going in, and that's where you can have conflict. Same thing, like coming out of the pump, even if they go down between the parking space and the dispensers, they can come in and they go in, and he may just try to go out of north side rather than, coming on west and going up again. So there is a lot of conflict there. I think that's where it's going to create problems for the motorists. So I'm looking at some sort of solution, because it is a big safety issue for me. I mean, that's a safety issue, and I can guarantee you, nobody looks at that one way
So
and behave.
yeah, my response to that is going to be, at least from like an engineering perspective, engineers, we always try to come up with like all these cute ways to try to get people to adhere. Like, you know what I mean? So if DOT does this a lot, where they will require, one way in and or right-hand turn ins and right-hand turns out. So they curve the edge of pavement. How many people have seen people do that, go that way anyway? So then it becomes a policing issue. You know what I mean? And it comes down to how much can you reasonably try to prevent somebody from doing it? You know what I mean? Like, at what point,
Well, that's
you know what I mean? So from an engineering perspective, that's my only concern, is because, like, again, we can keep putting all these barriers, red flags, flashing lights, like, you name it. But if people are going to do it, they're going to end up doing it anyway. I hate to say it like that, but so we do the best we can and within within reason. And what I will say, this layout I think is actually better for that congestion, because when you end up having the pumps like they are now, you have somebody coming north and somebody that comes south. Now you have the two vehicles nosed up against each other. You know what I mean? So, and you got to try to make sure that you have enough room to get around. Are you backing back away from those pumps? That starts to create more issues, I think, in terms of the flows of people not behaving, because then, if you have two vehicles nosed, you try to back up a little bit and you want to go north, but now another vehicle starts passing by you in that little pass-by lane. It can become chaos no matter what you do. I think that this is still overall a better configuration.
So, I mean, I think that's where, and I will give other commissioner a chance to talk about it or, expand. But that's where I see a conflict and a big safety issue, and it's up to you guys. You're an engineer. I'm an engineer too. I work on roadways and stuff, so I understand. But, today I'm sitting as a commissioner and addressing public safety. That's my job. So you have to come up with some solutions in addressing those, just because, I see conflict right there. It's, but I'll move on to other, so you addressed contamination issue about the tanks and all that. How about inside the building? That building was used as auto body shop. Now you're going to change the use where people are going to come in, and now it's becoming, public place. Before it was, auto body shop, 80% of the, area was used for auto body. People would sit in a small area outside, and that's about it. But now it's going to be, you'll be serving food and all that stuff. How is contamination issue addressed or will be addressed inside the building?
Any inside, this is Nadeem Khalid, any inside those pits or drainage, it can be legally disposed. As I mentioned, there will be LEP at the site, which is going to be represent the city and state. So that can be properly closed and has to be emptied out, and it will be a layer of concrete top of that. So there is absolutely nothing, any of contamination left, which can be exposed in a closed atmosphere.
Yeah, so,
He's talking about inside the building.
Inside the building, that's exactly right.
yeah, inside the building, what happens is, I hope there were no drains and stuff, otherwise you'll have a lot of contamination underground. But normally what you do is you take soil samples, make sure the vapors are not coming up, because that's going to have impact on the air quality inside, which is a safety issue. And I don't know what the plans are. I understand LEP would be there and all that, but I don't know what the scope of that LEP is or what's happening. If you're focusing on the outside tanks and stuff, that's one thing. Now you're ignoring the inside. So what is the plan for inside? I know the outside tanks are being removed and all that. DEEP will be there, and they will be taking some confirmation samples and things will be done. What about the inside? Because that's where I'm concerned about. If it's not done properly and you just clean up the slab and pretty up the room and have people come in, that's where I'm concerned
Like
about.
I said, Mr. Chairman, there will be LEP at the site.
Yep.
He will submit that report to the city. If we're sitting here, we are not
Yep.
here to clean all the contamination on Rocky Hill, you understand what I mean?
No,
But
I
we make
understand. Yeah, I
sure,
don't want to-
and, no, definitely.
Yeah,
We
and
are
I would,
yes, sir.
please, respectfully, I'm not talking about entire Rocky Hill, so let's please not go there and be
Right.
respectful. Thank
Right.
you.
I appreciate.
Okay.
But I repeated, like anything inside, LEP will be involved, and he's going to have us submit all the reports. So being like any of oil tank been removed, he's going to take the sample before any dirt can be disturbed. We have the complete report, and we're going to have a DP notify, and based upon all the facility going to be taken care. Anything inside, we have any of the drainage, any of the pits, or any of those trenches, that going to be checked and going to be emptied out with the proper, all the manifest, everything will be recorded, and we'll provide to the city as well those copies of the LEP reports. Everything will be 100% like a livable space with the most of the standard as we reach.
All right.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to raise that.
The Health District is involved with this
Yeah.
review.
So I just wanted to raise that, so we have that issue covered, and, you know, and I think as far as one commissioner brought up, the use inside and what would be sold, and would there be, you know, any cooking or anything like that, or it would be all just packaged, you know, things, food that will be sold? Because again, we do go through issues for prior approvals, previous approvals where things are not clear. And I think I want to make sure it's in writing what exactly would be done so that when there is non-compliance or complaints, we can go back to these public hearings and see what was submitted, what was the intent of this convenience store, what was being planned to be sold, et cetera, right? So things have to be clear as to what exactly the use and the plan is.
Definitely, as per the way this protocol, which we've been doing this, once we have all the approvals, we submit the plans, we go through that, health department we just need a simply class 1 license. Everything comes pre-packed, they come, they deliver, set it up, and if anything expired, it goes out. There's absolutely no cooking at the site, and we definitely, if anything ever happen, city officials and city and the health department will be notified with the proper license. And I assure you that any activities happening is going to be 110% all legal. We are not doing anything without any city officials.
No, and the only thing is I'm bringing this out so that it's documented in writing, you know, so.
Definitely,
for
we
future.
respect that. That's
So-
why we have this recording conversation as well.
Yeah.
Right, that's correct.
Think what else? Let's see. About the signs, how many signs would be there? So I did see, it's not in the package, but I saw the sign that you put up. Because there are sign regulations, you know, how, you know, the size you can have and things like that. So I saw a lot of like 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, and making it like 10, 12 feet high. No? Okay, so I just want to make sure.
We'll make sure all signs comply with any
Yep.
sign regulations and everything like that.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure, you know, what you showed doesn't become like
No.
a sign.
No.
Yeah.
The intention of that, sorry, James DeMayo again. The intention of that was just me trying to give you just an example of the aesthetic of it. Again, we're going to make it comply with the regulations, and and we're going to have something more formalized submitted in the response that we
Yep,
prepare.
okay. Would there be any electronic signs, strings, lights, things like that, flashing and, you know, things on your convenience store?
Again, this is Nadeem Khalid. Anything we are installing is going to be based upon the city guidelines and the approvals. So that definitely, once we are ready to do it, we just give you the conceptual plan. So we'll go with that formal design, and we'll go with the zoning, and once they approve it, that exactly will be installed with the proper permits and everything.
All right, so again, I just wanted to raise that, so next time when we meet, you know,
No,
we
definitely,
have
definitely,
that
like we
clarification.
early mentioned, that everything will be at per city. We are here, that's why we're standing here, to make sure everyone is comfortable, is going to be a legal, all the stuff with the proper, all the permitting and everything.
Thank you. So we talked about air handlers, HVAC, so how would the convenience store be cooled and heated?
Obviously, it's going to be HVAC system. And we have a room in the back where we are going to have like a area will be all covered with a fence. And it's going to be only two compressor will be at the back with a legal way, and it will be air handler will be inside. No equipment on the roof.
Okay. So I think if you can provide those details as well, like where things are, so we can look at, you know, I think those were my questions, and I will open up again for the commissioners if they have any other comments or want to add. Anyone? Yeah.
So the one-way from the north to south pathway there, is it something that it may be helpful to put those arrows that actually on the pavement? That might help people, kind of give them a few clues. Maybe? 3 big arrows.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So, again, James Lamau. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm also of the mind that if the arrows are depicted on the plan, then they're gonna be on the pavement.
On the
So-
pavement,
So,
too.
so
Okay.
for instance, same thing with like the line striping. If we're showing the line striping, or if we're showing hatching, that the intention is for that to actually make it to the pavement, you know, as it's depicted, essentially. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner.
Okay, along those lines, that's my biggest issue, not issue, but concern is you've got a cramped area in the front, right off the road. It appears like we might be recessing this hearing.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I,
Yeah.
that's the impression I had. Could we get some more specifics on the actual signage showing
Sure.
which ways to go?
Yes.
I know, it seems awkward that on the northbound side of the road, you've got the first place that people are gonna reach is southbound traffic inside the, right inside that, island.
Yeah, so that's actually done by design. So the reason why I have the one-way traffic flowing south is because when you are traveling south on Cromwell Ave, and if you take that entrance, you're now crossing a lane of traffic. So I want to get you off the road as quickly as possible and onto the site. So I'm trying to give those vehicles as many options and room to go. So they can go down this one way, they can go follow the two-way, they can get off the traveled way as quickly as possible and, you know, to the shelter of the site. When you come in the southern entrance, again, just due to the nature of the existing that's there, there's so much more space. We have stacking, tons of stacking space on that side. So I wanted to get it, so that's why I'm showing it to the south, is to get
Okay.
people onto the site where it's safer, more manageable, and then people can slow down, take their breath, figure out where they need to go, instead of, you know, crossing the highway at 50 miles an hour.
Okay, I just think it's important that the flow of traffic is very clear to people who are driving. I think the speed limit on Route 3 is 40 miles an hour, so they'll be zipping into the property, and when they get hit with, oh, there's a pump right there, what am I going to do now? You know, I mean, I've done things like that. It could be very confusing and probably cause accidents, so I think we need to have it very clearly signed.
And I think the state will be weighing in on that. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. The state's going to have a lot of opinions on that one.
Okay.
And again, the benefit right now is that we have the two-way traffic when you come in order to get closer to the convenience store. So, you know, a lot of people will most likely just get all the way onto the site and not try to take that quick right or go quickly into that. I think most people are going to try to get onto the site and then navigate to the pumps. Whereas instead of trying to make the sharper, harder movements, they're going to, you know, get in and try to make it a little bit easier.
I'm just concerned that we should make it evident to
Yeah,
drivers.
yeah, no, I
to make
agree.
it more.
Agreed. Yes, I'm going to come up with. So I'm going to do a little bit more detailing and blow
Okay.
up.
So you'll work on that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir. I'm taking notes as you guys are bringing stuff up, so I can try to be as clear and respond to as many concerns as I possibly can.
Yeah, because you're not driving a car at 40 miles an hour when you're explaining this to me.
No,
So-
no.
Okay. Those were my concerns mostly, was just the flow of traffic within the site.
Just add a couple things.
You want, okay.
You know, said Alan.
Yeah.
Just a couple more things. I know you said that the canopy is not solidified at this point, but having some renderings of that purely based on the fact that I know you were granted the variance, but it's a pretty substantial variance, so looking at what could be there, maybe some renderings looking north, looking south, what it's going to look like, colors, materials, just so we can kind of get a visual on that.
Yes, sir.
And congestion within the site, I know we touched on that. We touched on the fueling trucks coming in. What we didn't really touch on is when a Coca-Cola box truck might be coming in and other deliveries might be coming in. Where and how would stacking be? Maybe you want to
Yep.
kind of get into that a little bit?
So if you look on the screen, there's a dark box for the existing shed, and then just closer to Cromwell Ave is where our loading space is. So that loading space is going to be back behind all of the parking spaces, everything. So it's going to be completely out of the way. I'm showing a 10 by 25, which I think is what's called out in the zoning regulations, but we have ample space for an even bigger vehicle there. So even if it's a bigger box truck or something like that, we have room.
Okay, all right.
And again, it's out of the way.
Yep.
And
And maybe the other rendering might be, I know you chose a passenger car for your turning radiuses, which is 7 by 19.
Yeah.
If there's an option for something like an SUV, show a depiction.
I'll show like a bigger, like F-350 style
maybe-
pickup truck, because that's
Yeah,
going to be one
maybe
of the
show
worst.
us a depiction as the car is heading north or south into the property, and then coming into one of the bays to fuel up.
Yeah.
With cars in the parking spots, because obviously there could be people going into the convenience store at that time during operating hours. So I think I'd want to see a vehicle can maintain that turning distance heading into a pump without taking out vehicles in those
So-
respective parking spots.
Yeah, I'll make sure that the movement clearly depicts that it doesn't interfere with any parking space. I'm hesitant just to, and I'm just talking it through with you, I'm hesitant to show like actual vehicles shown in every space or something like that, because again,
The perfect storm, I get it. I get
so
it, yeah.
it gets cluttered. So,
Yeah.
but again, as long as it doesn't clip any parking spaces fully, then that's what I'll demonstrate.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
think it's just to address the fact that it's going to be congested.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of people on this commission that are probably going to feel the same way. So the more you can depict, I think it would be beneficial for
Absolutely.
everyone.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
And I think I'll just follow up on that. Also, like landscapers, right? They come with the tractor trailers and things like that. You can't prohibit them from coming in.
No.
They will come in, and now they're stuck. Cars are parked there, they cannot take it, and now they have to come back and forth, and it's going to create. So I think the internal circulation that I'm looking at right now, and I can envision, and what you have drawn is very tight. So, we want to make sure that, not only cars, but, landscape trucks with trailers and things like that are taken care of as well, because that's going to create problem.
Well, so the only, I'm struggling in my mind to figure out a good way to depict that for you, because even if we maintain the existing configuration, and let's say there's a truck with a trailer pulling up to the two parallel pumps, and they pulled into the back one because there's another vehicle there, now that trailer's sticking out in the drive aisle. So even that configuration isn't perfect, and there's going to be conflicts either way. I believe by already depicting the refueling truck, that if a WV-50 can make it around the site, a pickup truck with a trailer can make it around the site, at least in and out.
But it's clipping a lot of spaces. I mean, we were talking about
So
the filling truck at night.
So
Right.
if I depict like a truck,
Yep.
a normal truck with a trailer, being able to navigate, basically come in and out of the site without clipping any spaces, that will kind of address.
Yeah,
your
I mean,
okay,
that's-
all right.
that's what you're looking
I
at.
just want to make sure that what I give you is what you're hoping for.
Yes, I think we just want to make sure that the internal circulation is safe
Yes.
because even if there is one car in the middle, that's going to hamper, the truck or, landscaper going from, through that aisle.
Yes, sir.
So, yep, okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to recess the public hearing to get clarification and updated plans and comments to our comments and
But,
more specific signage details. And if anybody wants to amend that motion with other ideas.
yeah, I think we discussed a lot of comments, so
Yeah.
hopefully they are
Address all the comments.
addressed and,
That'll cover it.
Commissioner.
all commissioner comments, staff comments, everything. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 2, calling the meeting to order, public comments. Is there anyone in the public who would like to address to the commission? Seeing none, can I have a motion for consent agenda?
Okay, motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Wait,
Any opposed?
No, there's a modification that needs to be made to the minutes.
Oh, okay.
Should we withdraw?
On
Should
both
we
s-
withdraw the second and then
Yep,
withdraw
if
the
you can
motion?
withdraw.
Withdraw the second.
Thank you.
Withdraw the motion?
Yeah, there's just a technical error in the meeting minutes from the last meeting for that there's 2 sets of minutes, and the error rolls over to both. The meeting started at 6 PM. I was present when the meeting opened. It says I arrived at 6:37 PM, which is
Oh.
virtually impossible. So just a deletion on both sets of minutes needs to be made.
Okay, a motion to approve the consent agenda with the correction of the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was being the
All
secretary.
right, agenda item 5A.
Agenda item 5A, site plan amendment, Rocky Hill Gateway LLC, proposing modifications to the uses in Building 9, Kelson Row, reduce retail space from 9,959 square feet to 4,459 square feet, and allow medical office space not to exceed 5,500 square feet for property located at 2418 Main Street /1 Dividend Road, in a TC Town Center zoning district, ID number 10-184.
Good evening, Commissioners, and thank you for your time this evening. We go back a long way, maybe 3.5, 4 years actually, when we first approached you. But now when you drive by our proposed project, it is finished, 95% anyway, and coincidentally, we're 95% occupied. The first building, Building 9, that has retail, is the subject of tonight's request. Where we started, if you remember, the Ames Plaza, which was a 12-acre eyesore for over 20 years, was sitting in the middle of town. And when we came to the commission and we came to the town, we tried to work with them as best we could to create a new downtown center, which we really believe we accomplished. We think what we accomplished over the course of the last 3 years has been pretty fantastic. I'll go here. More pictures of the old dilapidated Ames headquarters. And this is where we are today. Kelson Row, 213 apartment units, and 1 retail building of 10,000 feet with apartments above. Keep going here. A few more pictures. There's our pool, our little cornhole play area, and the clubhouse in the lower left-hand corner. So again, I mentioned we have 213 residential units. We're 95% leased. Building 11 is the last building left to build, which is 6,000 feet of retail on the first floor and 12 apartments up above. Building 9 is vacant. The retail is vacant on the first floor. And that's, again, why we're here today, to talk about converting half of that building to commercial as opposed to keeping it as retail. So we got the project approved March 3rd, 2022. We've been unable to lease the retail for over 3 years now. As soon as we closed the property, we put up marketing signs, had some mom and pop shops that were interested in it, but really no credit tenants at all and no one of any substance. I'd like to also remind the commission that the traffic flow in front of Kelson Row is far less than it is up near the nexus of 91 and Celestine Highway, where you have your bigger tenants, your national tenants, your credit tenants. We have the CVS down on our end, but it's not a place that'll ever attract national tenants. So again, Women's Health is interested in leasing at our place here, 5,500 feet. They're in Rocky Hill right now in 3 locations. They have a lab, or a headquarters rather, at 175 Capitol Boulevard, 25,000 feet. They have a lab at 70 Inwood of 15,000 feet, and they're looking to expand that to 5,000 feet more for a total of 20,000, and they want to come to Kelson Row on our first floor, which would occupy half the building. Remember, the building's already built. The building is already set up to move somebody in. Women's Health expects 75 to 100 patients per day. That does not include their staff. So we believe that by putting them in that building, in Building 9, we're going to attract other retailers because of the foot traffic that is not there right now. We've spoken to several restaurant groups. None have firmly committed, but the big caveat with all of them is that we would expect to have Women's Health or someone like Women's Health so we could depend on that traffic for breakfast and for lunch. We expect the residents at Kelson Row to order out and, you know, come there during the day and on the weekends, but it's not enough. Our 13 units rather is not enough to support a restaurant of that size. So the change of use request, again, that's why we're here. We're looking for a change of use in Building 9 from retail to medical office for approximately half of the first floor of Building 9. The change would affect approximately 5,500 square feet of roughly a 10,000 square foot existing building right now, first floor. The change would be required for us to lease the space to Women's Health, so we would expect to go forward with that hopefully tonight. Additional benefits, once Women's Health signs a lease, it will be much easier to attract a tenant for the remainder of the space, especially a retail tenant or a restaurant. Once Building 9 is 100% occupied, we might be able to begin construction of Building 11 sooner than anticipated. At this point, we have approximately 3 years to start construction on Building 11. So by filling up Building 9, we could then move towards, hopefully, with our bank's approval, move forward to build the last building of the project. That would, by the way, total the units, if you remember, to 225 units and basically 16,000 feet of commercial and retail. But we're only asking out of the 16,000 feet of retail to approve 5,500 of commercial. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. I'm going to open up questions to the commissioners. Commissioner Hussey.
Let's see, a couple questions. Where would the projected location be of, you're looking to do a change of use of more than half of building number 9. So what would you say the delineation would be? Front, rear,
We have a floor plan, actually, that our engineers will show you. And I didn't introduce myself. Michael Belfonte, Belfonte Companies, the developer of the project. So I'm sorry, I missed that coming in. We can show you, but it's basically bifurcated in the middle of the building, front and back. But we have a floor plan of Women's Health that our engineers will show you. Do you want to see that now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Just for the record, Rock Evans, senior civil engineer with SLR International Corporation out of 99 Realty Drive, Cheshire, Connecticut. I believe it was actually submitted in your packet. So there is essentially a demising line between the two spaces along Building 9 that would just go from east to west.
I don't know if unless it wasn't in my packet, I don't think it was,
No.
I didn't have a layout.
We have,
Apologize. No,
Yeah, I don't think,
all I have is the one page.
Oh, just the one page?
Yeah, there was nothing
yeah,
in
there
there.
was one page.
Oh, it didn't plot on the page. Apologies. I can draw it real fast.
we don't have it either. So.
Yep.
I think what you're getting at is you're getting at is the public plaza area part of,
Correct, I just didn't
Yeah.
know how
Yeah.
more than half of the building would be divided
Yeah.
between the, what you're proposing and what was, got
okay.
it. Okay. Yeah.
Approximately 5,500 of the 10,000 feet.
I guess the question would be, is it the northern half or the southern half?
What would go
Oh,
where?
If-
who would be
and-
occupying which space? It would be the southern half. Yeah.
Because it,
Northern? Yeah. Yes, you're correct. Yeah, it would be the northern half of the building.
okay, so the plaza, and sorry to take your thunder, the plaza where it shows like a fire pit and
Yes,
seating.
that would be
that's
the
what-
restaurant
okay,
side. That way
okay.
there could be cohesion between
Okay.
the two spaces, because obviously when Building 11 comes online, that'll have its own retail space. That'll allow for more foot traffic in between the two spaces, as well as the use of that particular amenity space.
How about parking spaces? I think if you're changing use, I think it's more intensive on parking spaces. Where are you,
Yes.
where are you at
So,
with parking?
Under the current zoning regulations, it changes from 4 spaces per 1,000 to 6 spaces per 1,000, and we were already overparked. So there's a zoning data table that's associated with the LA1, that shows that we are already overparked. And it shows the computation with that as well. So we essentially show and propose 466 total parking spaces with a required of 427. So with the change in use, we're still overparked.
You good?
I'm good, Mr. Chairman, I'm good for now. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
What about traffic differential between the two uses?
So incidentally, so we have two kinds of schools of thought. So you have a restaurant use, which is actually going to be a little bit more high intensive. That is going, obviously, part of the previous approval and the previous traffic study. Retail use is actually pretty similar to medical office use. If you look at the ITE manuals, it's, if you're looking at a, what I'll call general retail, it's about 3 in the general grand scheme of things per 1,000 square feet when you're looking at parking generation, essentially, because when you're looking at a medical office, you have longer durations because somebody's going to be there for maybe an hour or more. When you look at general retail, you're kind of looking at, okay, maybe they're there for 30 minutes to an hour. It's faster paced sort of thing. So you're looking at parking and generation through there. So actually, the medical office parking generation is less at I think it's 2.67, which I actually have the number right here because I anticipated that question. It is, 2.63. So It's actually technically a less intensive use than what would be considered general retail, even though the parking regulations sort of flip that on the script a little bit. But generally, you're looking at essentially the same amount of parking and the same amount of demand from a trip perspective.
Okay. No other questions?
Commissioner Mahomes?
Okay, I'm just looking at this, this plan that you gave us that just shows one line of parking spaces. They say that they're going to have 75 to 100 patients per day, assuming an 8-hour day, roughly. That would be 10 to 13 cars per hour.
Yes.
I don't think that this parking is sufficient, and otherwise they're going to be
Well,
parking in the residential area and taking up parking spaces for apartments so I just want better.
There's a shared parking study that was done as part of the original approval, and based on the zoning regulations, we
Correct.
obviously meet the minimum requirements and exceed the minimum requirements by essentially 30 some odd spaces.
Right.
So I don't
But
necessarily.
where are those spaces?
Well, those are dedicated directly adjacent to that particular area.
Yes.
Yeah.
In addition, Commissioner, the average time of patients coming into the clinic is about 15 minutes, according to Women's Health. So it's kind of an in and out kind of thing. I have a letter here from Women's Health. I also have the broker from Women's Health, Evan O'Brien.
Well, that was one of my questions too. What is the nature of the business of the Women's Health? What service do they provide without getting into gross details?
No, there's nothing. It's basically a clinic for women. OBGYN. There's not going to be any procedures.
So it's like a doctor's office.
Pardon me? Yes, basically.
Okay. And the appointments are only 15 minutes each.
Yes, that's what they have told us. And if I could read this letter from Women's Health. I don't have my reading glasses. I just have my
One
distance.
second, do you have anything to say?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want to also talk about, I also think it should be mentioned that I know that this is a shared parking project. The whole project, the whole development deals with mixed use and shared parking. So keep in mind that some of the people that live in the apartments may not be parked there at the time. However, there's parking dedicated for Building 9 and Building 11 to the rear of Building 9 and Building 11 on the original approved site plan. But if some of the residents live there and choose to park behind Building 9 or Building, they certainly can do that. I would assume many of the residents in the ultimate build out of 225 units total, I would assume some of them will be working during the daytime, and they will be leaving the premises at the time when others, will be coming for their appointments at Women's Health.
Yeah, to your point, they're opposite hours. I
Yes.
mean, the people that are working are not there during the day, and
Yeah.
I just happened to go over there this evening before I came here, and there are dozens of parking spaces that are open, and we're at 95% leased at this point. Yeah, sure.
No, you have to come on here.
And you got to tell us who you are.
So my name is Evan O'Brien. I'm with Cushman & Wakefield out of Hartford. I represent Women's Health. They're the largest women's health organization in the state of Connecticut. They have 90 divisions in the state. I represented them when we moved one of the largest labs in the state here over at 70 Inwood Road. That's managed by Quest Diagnostics. We send all of our testing for every division in the state of Connecticut to Rocky Hill. I also moved their corporate office from Avon to Rocky Hill about 4 or 5 years ago. So they're at 175 Capitol Boulevard. One thing I want to point out, and again, I'm not privy to Michael's approvals 3.5 years ago, but I put Women's Health in a lot of mixed-use projects that are apartments, and I put them on the ground floor all over the state, whether it's Norwalk, Weathersfield, where Sally's Pizza is. There's a real estate office, and Women's Health is on the ground floor. So they complement each other really nicely, because when the residents are home, the business is closed. When we're up and operational Monday through Friday, from say 8:30 to 4:30, that's when residents who are not working from home are out at work. So the parking fields open up. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Why don't you read this, since it was...
So this is the letter to the commission from Women's Health. Dear Commission, we are an OBGYN physician group with more than 50 divisions and 90 locations across the state. One of our divisions, Greater Hartford Women's Health Associates, is currently exploring the opportunity to lease space at the location referenced above. We expect to see an average of 75 to 100 patients a day in this location, with a plan to increase that number over time. Our headquarters is in Rocky Hill, along with our Women's Health Connecticut Laboratory at 70 Inwood. In addition, we have maintained 2 other practices in Rocky Hill for over 35 years and are planning further expansion in 2026. Rocky Hill has long been an important part of our community presence, and we look forward to continuing to strengthen and grow that connection. Thank you for your time and consideration. Yours truly, Stephen J. Van Brimer, CPA, Controller, Women's Health Corporate.
Thank you. And if you can submit that for record.
Sure.
Commissioner, you have further questions?
Yeah, that was my main concern, is that the parking seems kind of cramped for 100 patients a day, which would, like I said, would be 10 to maybe 15 patients in an hour. That's a lot of, I mean, if you look at 15-minute appointments, that would be like 4 cars in the building at the same time. So I'm just concerned about the parking area,
But if it was,
sufficiency of the parking.
if it was retail, or it would probably be quite similar.
Okay, that's about it for now.
All right,
I
thank
may
you.
have more.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my arms around some of the prior amendment modifications that were already put forward, that to get a feel for how substantial everything combined is, the cumulative impact of the what appears to be more like a segmented approach towards site development, because we're looking at the approved summary here, but the approved summary of what's approved on that's already part of a previous modified approach to the original proposal. So I guess the first question I have is, how many site plan amendments are we up to now?
Several, I don't think more than 2 or 3.
Yeah, and in the original approval, didn't we had a good amount of office space approved in the original plan approval, correct?
We had office on the 2nd floor on Building 11, which is the
But we had a whole nother building with office space.
No, we just had one office, 5,000 feet, in Building 11 on the 2nd floor, which has not been built yet.
We had office space over on that building that was over near Pratt Street. It was kind of square shaped.
That's the 5,000 feet on the 2nd floor.
That's not Building 11 though.
Yeah,
That was
that's
this building was over in the middle of the south side of the property.
No, Building 11 is where the office was on the 2nd floor, 5,000 feet. We came back and made an amendment to put 12 units on the 2nd floor, but we didn't change the retail on the 1st floor. So the only thing that changed was the office, because we couldn't lease the retail for 3 years, and the office would have even been more difficult to lease on a 2nd floor in that location. So we came to ask the commission for some relief, and we gave more density in the units and more affordability also.
Okay, so then we eliminated office space, and now we don't have it. So now we're going to eliminate retail space to create office space for the space that was previously approved. Am I misstating that?
Yeah, a little bit. It's Mark Ferlenz again. Nice to see you. It's nice to see you, gentlemen, ladies. You know, in conversations with Women's Health, they consider or act themselves more like a retail use, and I think that is the difference. We were apprehensive about building an office building because we didn't think we could lease it. In many locations, and I think in all the locations, and you see that all around the state with urgent care, you know, these medical offices have become sort of retail uses. And we consider them a retail use. They consider themselves doctor's office, but they act as retail. And you see that all over the state. So I hear what you're saying, but it's not exactly correct.
I mean, is there a direct retail aspect to Women's Health where they might sell women's health products, where somebody might just stop in to pick up a product, or is it entirely services?
It's entirely services at this point, yes.
You know, I'm just concerned that, you know, this is eliminating more than half of the retail space in that building. And it's just unfortunate because the way that this whole thing, you've heard me before. You know how I stand on this issue. I don't even like where the retail is to start with. It should have been up closer to the part of the development where the rest of the retail in town is located. This is kind of isolated off on the side. But yeah, I'm just trying to find out if there's some middle ground here, some offset or some to just not make this another situation where we're deviating further away from the original plan that's not, you know, not supporting the vision behind what we really, really wanted to do with this property, which is create a walkable, livable community. And you know, it's not the worst thing in the world that you're proposing here, but it's just a continuation of a pattern that keeps moving us farther away from the goalpost. And I'm just worried that that, you know, there's a whole cumulative aspect to what's being proposed. This is an amendment to the amendment. And I just, like, when does it stop? You know, what are you going to come in and ask for tomorrow? I don't know. I'm just frustrated. But anyways, and then on top of that, we've got existing nonconformances that were supposed to have been corrected by April this past year, and we were very distinctly described what was supposed to happen. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that we make a decision today. What assurances do we have that
By law, they
pan
have
out?
3 years to complete the project, and that's everything. That's everything.
Yeah, but in the records, we have the correction with the ground-mounted units.
But
There was a date set for like April
And
of
they
this
still
year.
have,
Yeah,
by
so,
law,
so I think, Commissioner, what
they have
happens
to.
is there's a timeline attached to the permit. So
I
Yeah.
can't
think,
change that.
once that timeline comes, I think that's when town can take action, and I think we can take some action and
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
bring,
And
you know.
additionally, just a point of matter, just Rock Emmond, the senior civil engineer. The contractor is currently going through a punch list, basically going backwards throughout the entire site. And most of those walls that we talked about the last time to obscure the ground-mounted units have been completed, except for the one that started at all, which incidentally started working today. So we actually expect that work to be done early January because obviously we have the holiday period. And one of the reasons why it actually occurred that way was because they started turning, well, there was occupancy in the building at that time, and they actually started using the units. So it kind of delayed the timeline a little bit. But when we started going through every phase, the punch list item stayed remaining the same to address this. And the contractor is very aware that this needs to be done. The ownership is very aware that it needs to be done. And they're performing admirably to make sure it's getting done. But there was some logistics with, occupants that was essentially the hurdle.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And I guess the other, I heard what you said about it will help attract retail, but it still sounds speculative as far as the restaurants or whoever's going to fill the retail space. So we may make that, if the switch is made, that's one thing, but I don't know where that it gets us towards the end game, or what the development was supposed to manifest itself into.
If I could chime in a little bit, we believe that the women's health lease will help boost all the walkability, including the walkability in the retail on the center across the street. And we need people down there. And this is a way to bring people and activity, and I believe we will get a restaurant with women's health there. And we've been sitting on this, Commissioner, for over 3 years, trying to lease space here. And I fear that if you guys don't approve this, and it's certainly up to you, but we could be sitting another 3 years without any leases for the retail. And that would be terrible. It would look like a project that was not complete, and it'll look like that project that wasn't successful. And I think by bringing women's health in, I think it helps the rest of the retail. And I believe we will get somebody if they have that, or we have that traffic every day. So I think as a developer, it's really important. And by the way, this is a very expensive fit up. I mean, we have to spend, millions of dollars to put women's health into this space. And we're willing to make that commitment because they're such a strong tenant and a good tenant, and they're good people, and it's a good cause. And we think it's the best thing to do at this particular time in the marketplace. I don't want to be sitting there with another 3 years without any tenants at all, and that really could happen.
Yeah. And this is just a question, maybe this question for you, Kim. On that part of the building, can we keep, an acceptable use, an approved use, be both retail and medical office space, so that if in the future it reverted back, it would already be pre-approved for retail? Or does it have to be specific to what? In other words, it has a multiple
Keep in mind,
use approval.
the commission did modify the regulations with respects to minor changes, and because this project is so important to the town, that's one of the main reasons why they're back. But you did modify the regulations for what is a minor change, what is a major change. And they talk about, in section 9C6, subsection 4, item A, a change in use after commission approval and prior to construction for new development. It's a major change. Now, they didn't do any fit outs, but that's why we're talking about the change in use after the commission approval.
Yes, if you have any questions, I think we have to move on.
Yeah,
Do you have any?
Unless you word it so it's not so, just a non-residential use would be left vague, and that,
Yeah, it's
You know,
hard,
that's
it's hard
what I'm
for
saying.
developer to
Correct.
keep changing from
Yeah.
office space and then retail and then come back. It's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
I'm
imperial
not-
work.
I'm just
So,
saying,
Yeah,
but yeah, I suppose it's not gonna make much difference whether we did that or not.
Yep.
All right, I'll just pass it on to Nancy. and she
Do you know how many parking spaces you have allocated for that to happen?
So based upon the zoning regulations, we're required to have 45 spaces. And again, we have
Okay,
466 total
I'm just saying,
spaces.
but that's closest to the building.
Yeah, so the direct parking lot that's adjacent to both Building 9 and 11
Okay.
have plenty of spaces, ample spaces.
Triple loaded.
Okay,
So
so,
it's a shared parking development.
yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know, like,
And additionally, with all that, just to, further the point, there's ample sidewalks throughout the entire development. So the connectivity between the residential retail spaces,
It
if they
looks
do
good,
have to go
yeah.
to, areas where it could be, let's say a resident is taking over a space from the retail or medical office space,
Now-
there is that connectivity that they can travel.
right. Now you have the 3 handicap parking spaces. It looks like it's on the southern entrance, not the northern. And is that what you said? The Women's Health was going to go in the northern section?
Yes, Women's Health would go in the northern, and the accessible route for both areas is acceptable per ADA code. So it can access the building on both sides based on the location of the ADA spaces.
Would
No
you
problem.
want to put any closer to the door on the other side where Women's Health would be? Because that's where you might get people with wheelchairs going in?
I would actually say that the current location, because you have two schools of thought that are going to be occurring here. You're going to have what we're hoping is going to be a restaurant, and then you have where we're going to be a women's health. Equal opportunity also says that they are going to be able to go into that plaza space. So you honestly want to put that parking where it is currently depicted. That way they have the opportunity to go to all 3 spaces, if that makes any school of sense.
So the handicap spaces are closer to the southern portion where that's going to be a restaurant?
Correct.
Or, okay.
That the potential restaurant.
All right, I would think you'd want some handicap parking closer to where the medical office is, because the
Yeah.
medical office.
Yeah, as well
is-
as, if, let's
3
say in
spaces away.
the long term, that we do see that there is a need because there is an exorbitant amount of ADA requirements or ADA clientele that would be accessing this area, we could always add a space. Because obviously we're overparked. Again, losing technically 1 space because it has to be a hatched island is not the world's worst thing in the world. And because we're also providing ADA access throughout the entire facility, the entire parking area, it would not be a big lift.
Okay, so that's all flat going into the building
Correct.
in the northern section?
That
That's
is
all
correct.
flat going in and all accessible?
Yep.
Okay. And you have no retail space offers at all, or no one interested in looking at retail?
No, there were a couple of people that came in that just didn't have any credit, honestly. And then we had some undesirables looking. I don't want to insult anybody's business, but, a vape store, inquired, which
We have rules for that.
Well, I know, but I have rules too for that. So it's not something that I would have anyway. And so there were a couple of, like I said, very poor businesses, a couple of startups, people that never even had a business before. And we, are not gonna do that, so.
Okay. I know you said that vehicles would be going in there every 15 minutes, but usually appointments are booked every 15 minutes. And so
Well,
that
I
would be
don't know
4
if
patients an hour, which would be 4 cars an hour. So that's usually how that works.
Yeah,
just so you
okay.
know. But I mean, you definitely, if you have enough space and everyone can get in there, that's perfect. Okay. Do you have like a canopy or something that's an overhang for rain or whatnot outside that building, so that if patients are coming in, they're protected somewhat?
We don't have one planned now, but
Okay.
again, if it was something that Women's Health required after the first rainstorm, I'm sure we would accommodate them or whatnot.
I'm just trying to like think how I would like as a patient to
Yeah.
be
I think
placed
it's
in
a
it.
good
And I
thought.
know that there should be like an anti-lobby or something that has like a canopy over it, because in the rain, you might have people coming in accessible vehicles, you might have drop-offs from our vans, minivans, might be dropping patients off. So you want to be able to accommodate them as much as you can and keep them
Mm-hmm.
dry. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. I just have a few comments, and again, this project, as you said, started with, a vacant site for 20 years, and the commission and you guys did excellent job in coming up with the vision for this site. The vision for this site, as we all said, was to make it walkable, bring people in. Certain segments, certain uses were put in certain locations to connect the other elements that are within the same area. Like we have the monument, that's where all the events are happening. And that was the whole purpose of putting this, so there is a synergy there. So I think when we start talking about foot traffic and all that stuff, as you said, you have 213, and when it's done, you'll have 225. If you consider all single people, at least 225 people. That's a huge foot traffic. The foot traffic that we are talking about is from 8 to 5. What happens is if there's a restaurant next door, when he's looking for foot traffic from 5, 6 o'clock to 10, 11, he will have to depend on these 225 people. Just take that, that's the only what's available. So I think the commission had a vision, and this is a mixed use. And I understand anybody can come up with their business as a retail business. They may think it's a retail business or not, but there's a definition of retail is, right? And what we had in our mind. And I think you would agree that the commission and you guys, when we did the amendments, we worked in a good faith effort to do certain things. And we did make those changes, and we did agree those amendments. But I think right now we are at a point where I am looking for some real foot traffic. I'm really looking for, because I had a vision in my mind that what I want. And that vision is slipping away. And I think that vision that we gave as a commission to our town, to our citizens, that's being, washed away. So I can't sit here and keep on changing these things, because market is going to change. But we had a vision, and that's why, town put a lot of effort, and I'm not going to talk about, other elements of the project because it's outside of my purview. But at least the commission did work in a good faith effort when we amended this plan that was originally approved a couple of times. So I think at least we should be given a chance by you guys. And so I understand it was vacant for 3 years, but your first residential didn't start filling up 3 years ago, right? You got filled up now, right? So I think if you can give us, until your permit expires or whatever, date we have, and say, we are trying. And I understand financially and all that, it doesn't work. But from where I'm sitting right now and the promises we had made to our citizens, our residents, I want to make sure that I'm true to that. And there was a vision. We can't keep on changing things because the market doesn't work, right? You have to give us some time.
It's really sad, honestly, that you're coming up with this conclusion, because I think you're making a terrible, terrible mistake. But that's up to you. You're the commission. But I see where this is going, so you might as well vote now.
No, again, I think, let me finish. Let me finish, please. Let me finish.
Go right ahead.
Please do not come to the podium and lecture the commission that way. That's insulting to the commission. We have worked with you for last 3.5, 4 years. That's insulting, Mr. Belfanti.
Okay.
No, you should not have gone there. I did not start.
If we could
Yeah,
get back to the subject.
yeah. So I think, again, I think I've said enough.
I would just like to make just one point, just Rock Evan, just for the record, 99 Realty Drive, Cheshire, Connecticut.
Yeah.
As the commission, you are working obviously for the people of Rocky Hill. Women's health has essentially ingrained themselves in Rocky Hill in multiple locations. They're essentially trying to further do that with Kelson Row. And I think that opportunity is something that you guys really should consider. And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Actually, maybe I'll make the comment first because it might follow into maybe what you can
Sure, go ahead.
answer, kind of a question here. So obviously, we're talking about parking issues. We're talking about multiple modifications. Well, commission as a whole is baffled as to how many modifications there have been. In my estimation, building number 9 is kind of pivotal. You're at the start of the peninsula between Dividend and Silestine Highway. So the main focus was obviously to have a nice-looking facade for pedestrians to walk north and south on Silestine Highway in the town center. So now we're being asked to go to a change of use, to abandon what we really agreed on of the retail aspect and go to a medical use. Half of the building is trying to be done with women's health. It almost seems a little bit we're putting the cart before the horse, if you will. Maybe the right way to do it is ask for it first. It almost seems like we're being force-fed. We're not against women's health, and I don't want it to be addressed that way. Whatever the commission decides on, it's not, we're not against women's health, and I just want to kind of put that on record that we're not against it, saying that, we're doing a disservice to women's health. It has nothing to do with that. The first thing should be to try to apply for a change of use. The second thing is for a developer to fill according to if the commission decides on that change of use. Now, my question for you is, half of the building wants to convert over. Why do you need half the building? You mentioned that there's tons of other sites. So maybe a quarter of the building might be a little more palatable for the commission to take on. I, for one, I was kind of flabbergasted when I saw that 5,500 square feet of it would try to be deemed as a different use. Taking up more than half of that vital building is kind of a lot. So I don't know if you explored other options as a smaller portion of it.
Sure.
I don't know if that's been done.
You bring up some good points, and I'm glad you addressed it. So this is an office it's Greater Hartford Women's Health. They have 4 locations. This office, we're moving from Glastonbury. So that office right now is small. It's only 2,500 feet. We need a larger facility. We explored Newington, Farmington, Glastonbury, Weathersfield, and Rocky Hill. Because we have such a large presence here in Rocky Hill, and we've been received very well ever since we've had a presence here, this is why we landed here in Rocky Hill. Michael's done a tremendous job with this project. I happen to live in Weathersfield, so I'm very familiar with this project. I watched it from afar. So, if you drive around anywhere throughout the state or in this community, you see apartment buildings going up everywhere. And everybody wants mixed use, particularly towns that may not have a 4-lane Main Street, right? But the reality is the market is telling the developer and the townsfolks what it belongs there. And in real estate, typically developers don't pick and choose what tenants they want in their buildings. The tenants choose, and the market dictates that. So that's what's happening here. So I have no experience of what was approved or modified or anything of the sort. I represent Women's Health. We have a 25,000-foot corporate headquarters here, which is large. We have a 15,000-foot lab that will turn into a 20,000-foot lab, and we have the OBGYN office on the Silestine now and one on Cromwell Avenue. So I would be very disappointed if this isn't approved, because I think it's the right move. But again, I'm not privy to, everything you guys are, the last 3 or 4 years. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Nope, not for me.
No further comments. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to, where am I at here? Agenda item 5A. I'd like to make a motion to deny proposing modifications to the uses in building number 9, Kelson Row, to reduce the retail space from 9,959 square feet to 4,459 square feet, not to exceed 5,500.
Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Yeah, he is the motion, so he has to, you'll get a chance. He has to, yeah.
I think the reason I had denied was kind of what I had stated before. I really deem building number 9 as a pivotal building in this development. While the development as a whole is beautiful, it's an asset to Rocky Hill, there's no question. One of the key components was what we had originally established. That retail component addresses pedestrian traffic. And what I was seeing was too much of that building to be occupied with a different change of use. That means half of that front facade from the picture that was shown tonight to the commission, that was not part of the packet, half of that front facade would be taken up by a different use. So that's primarily why I had voted to deny.
You got second?
Yeah, I seconded it just mostly for discussion, but now we're discussing it. We're getting away from the retail and commercial use. Was originally presented to us 4 years ago. And this isn't the first building that's changed. Building 11 changed also, I think, about 2 years ago, where it was mentioned that they couldn't find tenants for it, but they told the prospective tenants, presumably, that the building wouldn't be finished for 2-3 years from now. So if you were going to open up a business or looking for business space that you couldn't move into for 2-3 years, and this all just gets back to the vision that the chairman mentioned. We're way off track on the vision of this project. The buildings are nice. They look a lot better than I thought they would when we first discussed it and did the approval. I think the final approval was like 3.5 years ago. But we've been incrementally moving away from the original vision and the original proposal that was presented to us that we approved. And that's something that I think we have to look at what we're doing. And so that's one of the reasons that I seconded it. That's it for me. Get off that.
The whole concept is a bit perplexing. You heard my comments from before. I might propose, that we may make this motion without prejudice, if some better argument could be made, but that gave us more time, or that this could come back at a later date. But the issue here is that the point you had made earlier about when people started moving in and so on, that's all very recent. I mean, things may have started 3 years ago, but it's not been 3 years, and it just seems like we're jumping the gun too soon. And so maybe we do this without prejudice. It could come back at a later date in a more timely manner with more, if vacancy is truly going to be a long-term problem. But to jump from the vision now, we've already, I would argue, been very, even though I didn't vote for it, been very supportive of previous amendments that were allowing more residential units, which are easy to fill up, and putting revenue into the developer's pocket. So it's not that we haven't been operating in good faith. It just feels like this is like somebody hitting the panic button. It's too soon. So, yeah.
I mean, I agree. I mean, we can we can amend the motion with, without prejudice. And again, that's what I was asking. I think we are asking developer to give commission more chance, more time just to see if we can fulfill that vision. And again, it took 20 years for this vision to come to fruition. So, I think that's what the commission is asking. And, again, we have worked with the developer, for the last 3 years, and we have made amendments, and we accommodated. So I think it's not that this commission is unreasonable. I think we are at a point now at the end where we have to make sure that that we have exhausted all the possibilities. And that's what I'm asking for more time and see if that vision can come, to fruition. So,
And as Commissioner Hussey mentioned prior to the motion, we have nothing against the use that was proposed. There's nobody sitting behind this desk is against women's health. So, I mean, I don't want that to be something that is taken as a negative by the commission if we eventually deny this. I mean, it's not the actual specific use, it's the whole fact that the use has changed, not the specific use that would go in there. But hopefully that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, I can certainly modify and deny without prejudice, but I think we have to, does Commissioner Mordhost have
yes,
to?
he has to take.
I'll accept that amendment. Yeah.
Okay. So, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
It's a denial without prejudice.
Without prejudice.
Without prejudice, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
And hopefully we won't be insulted anymore.
Moving on to next item, 6A. I think 5B, we already tabled it, recessed it.
Yeah.
So we move on to next, 6A. CROG Regional Planning Commission.
Oh, there hasn't been a meeting since I reported on the last meeting in November, and there won't be another meeting until March, so there's no report.
All right. Zoning enforcement.
Yeah. We've had some bizarre complaints lately. I'll just put it that way. I was called the other day about someone complaining about recreational vehicles being too large in the driveways. And I said, well, are they blocking your sight distance? Because then we can certainly, from a safety perspective, talk to them about that. But no, it was just a very large RV, so. We also are getting a lot, during the snowfall, we got a lot of snow complaints, snow on sidewalks. And while it's not necessarily or clearly expressed in the town ordinance that it's a zoning matter, because we don't regulate snow, that's not something we regulate, but we do put calls in, especially to commercial properties, to shovel sidewalks. I know the fire marshal's office goes out in a large snow event to talk about hydrant and clearing, but we will, make an effort to contact people about that. We have been receiving noise complaints about the town trucks when they plow. Once again, that's exempt from our town ordinance. That's a safety matter.
Thank you.
So we get the
Wanna hear 'em.
complaints about. Yeah, we get a lot of erroneous complaints. So we had some about survey stakes being unsightly, just really odd complaints. We have had some that are actually legitimate. Some of the novelty signs, like the feather signs, we've been trying to chase those. So we do have some legit complaints, so.
All right.
I have a question or maybe a comment about, people, we say this all the time, people leaving mattresses out. on the street and they sit there for a month.
Okay. We do,
And all that, and other debris. And I'm just wondering, this is not really the commission's business, but like from a town perspective, is there a better way to educate people on what can be thrown out, what can't be thrown out?
we do have.
Go on the
We do
website.
have, we
Go
do
on the
have a
website.
website, and that's handled by our Community Development Services Department
Yeah.
also, through Public Works. They share space with us. So there is a protocol for pickup. So typically, items are left out for at least 3 days. Some people don't call, they just assume that
Well, that's
you
the
leave it out and someone's gonna drive by and pick it up and take it away. That's not the case.
Yeah.
There is a number to call. There is a section on the town website where you can input information, and an appointment will be scheduled. The town is divided into thirds, and bulky pickups are done,
On
at
certain
certain,
days.
on certain
Yeah.
days.
And
An
that's-
interesting
it's-
comment is, we've called several times for stuff that we put out. They say they'll pick it up on Wednesday, so you can put it out on Monday afternoon. And within an hour, a truck comes by and picks it up, not from the town, from somebody that really wants what
Well,
we put
actually,
out on the road.
there's many people that repurpose things on curbs,
Yeah.
and we've put out boards on curbs, and they just come by and just take
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
you're
they
gonna
love it.
get that, but,
But mattresses and.
Yeah, there
and
are-
Junk, true,
There's way,
true
and
junk.
it's on the town website, there's a specific way that you need to put the mattress, bag it or whatever, because,
Yeah.
bed bugs is a
I
different
mean,
thing,
but people don't actively know to do that.
well, maybe,
And-
maybe a
and
social, maybe social media
Social
post,
media posts,
little
or even-
flyers,
even on our
library.
sign that we have on the corner there, something like, remember to call the town for bulky pickup, or.
Yeah, well,
I'm
it's
just,
not a zoning
other
issue.
Well, that's, yeah, that's
might
kind of
help a little bit,
an
other
aside.
than,
Or you
a
could
neighbor
call me.
knocking on the
You
door
could call
and
me and we
saying,
could
"Hey."
talk about that, because that's not really a P
Or,
and Z
yeah,
issue.
it's,
but-
I don't want to go too much in that.
Yeah, it's just
I think,
I mean,
if
everyone
you go to
calls me about everything
council
else.
meetings, you can address them, and probably they will take care of the
Yeah.
things,
Oh, I know.
Minor modifications, we have none, right?
We do not have any.
Plan Implementation Committee. I don't think,
We haven't had a meeting, but, and I know that we're going to be having appointments. I was told appointments are going to be the the second council meeting in January, which happens to fall the day before our regular planning and zoning meeting. So I am proposing, and actually just going to make it so, that we cancel our regular meeting on the third Wednesday in January, and our special meeting, which is the fourth Wednesday in January, will basically be our regular meeting agenda, but billed as a special meeting. Reason being, if there are new appointments, I want to get the new appointees in to have like a mini introductory meeting with them to talk about processes, procedures, the bylaws, ex parte communications, recusals, a whole bunch of different things.
So you can cancel the regular meeting and
And the schedule.
change
yes.
the purpose of the special meeting through public notices.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no action that we have to do tonight, or,
I'm just going to do it.
yeah, okay. Just wanted to clear that up.
yep. All right, Affordable Housing Committee is,
Affordable Housing Committee did meet, and one of the things we want to do is, in talking about the development of affordable housing, is contact a few developers that are involved with affordable housing and bring them in to talk about the development perspective and what is involved. Because obviously developers, they're in the business to make money. So we're in the business to get affordable housing. So how does it work for them? What are the financing mechanisms? And what do they need to make, make a profit while we at the same time can get what we want with our affordable units? So they want to sit down with a few developers to get educated there.
Will you talk about condos versus apartments, too?
Well, there's different types of housing.
Yes.
We need all types of housing. And we're talking about, in the CROG study that's been done, and they're slowly bringing forth all the data. But we're talking about housing types and households have changed over time. The mom and pop with 3 kids is no longer the norm. You have smaller households. You have people marrying later, having fewer kids or no kids. Divorce is up. People that live together separate. So the need is more for the 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom units, not the 3-bedroom units anymore. So New England is historically the mom and pop type of housing with the larger, older homes with 3 and 4 bedrooms. So the demographics have changed over time. But we do need to provide under the Fair Housing Act, fair housing and opportunities for all. So that's the rental, that's the condominium, that's a single-family home. It's all of the above.
When was the last time we had a condo complex come to us for?
Well, we can't dictate
No,
the
no, I'm
type
just
of
saying.
ownership.
I'm just
but
saying, we
no,
haven't had
had that in a while.
Okay, just saying.
There was a big push, but in the 80s, but we can't dictate
No.
to people what they want to.
All right, legislation. So that'll,
We're still working our way through that housing legislation.
Yep.
So we're slowly parsing out that which we need to do, especially in our zoning regulations. And that's going to be an eye-opener for many folks. Versus, there's a lot of things with financing that we probably won't be involved with. So
Yep.
we're going through that now.
all right, 7, communications. Can I just, what we call, appreciation or whatever? I think I can cover in general, right? So what I want to do is this is our last commission meeting under, my chairmanship. So I wanted to thank all the commissioners who devoted the time and, attend the meetings and numerous meetings when we worked on POCD. So I think, and we worked, even though we come from different, parties and stuff, we all work together. I think we respectfully. So I think that's a good accomplishment, for us, and hopefully we'll continue that, if we all come back. But I think I just wanted to let the public know that this commission, members, they're sitting here without pay. They spend a lot of time away from their family at night, right? So it's a dedication. And regardless of where we end up with the decisions, I think we all have a heart for the people, for this town. So I think I want to make sure that everybody understands that, that we take this seriously. And, I want to thank everyone for your time, so.
And along those lines, I don't know if somebody's going to say this or not, but thanks for 6 years of leading us. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'd second that motion.
Yeah.
Excellent
Keep-
job, Mr. Chairman.
Vote this time?
Keep it short and simple. But yeah, thank you.
6 years, yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
A long time, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
great job.
no, and thank you, and last but not least, right, staff.
Well, thank you guys, too.
Your guidance, is also very important, and,
Oh, my God. Yeah.
No, you're not going,
When
but
I
I think.
go, you know.
Want to make sure, Yeah. All right. Having said that, we don't have any bills, so motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.